something's got to give right about now. Medina delivers 3-2. Hit in the air. That one's going to be gone. A grand slam walk-off home run by Carter Beck. Oh, my goodness.
Welcome to episode 346 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland, and then there were four in the Western Canadian Baseball League. The first round of the 2025 playoffs is now complete, and the division finals are on the line over the next few days. In the West, a familiar matchup as the Okotoks Dawgs will clash with the Sylvan Gulls for a fourth year in a row. And in the East, it'll be a battle of the big Saskatchewan cities with the Regina Red Sox facing the Saskatoon Berries. We'll start this special division final preview in the West, where the Okotoks Dawgs are continuing their quest for a four-peat. They opened up the playoffs with a decisive two-game sweep of the Brooks Bombers with wins of 11-4 and 9-2. With a strong contingent of veterans and a group of newcomers ready to contribute, the Dawgs don't seem to have missed a beat this year, winning 40 games during the regular season, and one of the late-season additions was Dawgs Academy alum Leo Cote. The slugger hit .333 with 5 homers and 18 RBI in 17 regular season games, and followed that up by going 3 for 7 in the Brooks series. Leo, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Yeah, of course. Hey, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
On to the second round, you go after a sweep of Brooks. What's the vibe in the clubhouse after a couple of big wins to kick off the playoffs?
Oh, the vibes are high. I mean, the boys are buzzing, and you know, it's a big year with big pieces kind of leaving after this year. We kind of want to do it for them, and you know, with what happened with Dawn and everything, you know, it's a big year for us, and we think that it would be awesome to get 4 in a row, of course.
Mm-hmm. Looking back on it, what was key for you guys in that opening round?
I think it was to not underestimate them. I think you're playing Brooks. We know what our record against them was in the season. We know what we bring to the table. We know how much power we have at the plate, and we know how our pitchers are. I think it was to, go first pitch and, attack their hitters, and put points on the boards. They scored first in the first game, which kind of, got us a little bit on our heels. And then, Connor came up with a clutch grand slam. And I feel like the moment that grand slam left the stadium, I think that really shifted the vibes, and all the fans were into it, and all of a sudden, you're looking pretty good with 2 very, very confident wins.
Mm-hmm. Talk about your pitching for a second, because that might be one of the more understated pieces of the puzzle this year, and yet you rolled and you had a couple of really big performances in that opening round.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, Baltus started off kind of, not shaky. He's been doing great, but, he started off, gave up a couple runs, and I think he came off that mound and he got the jitters out of the way. And, all the guys in the bullpen have been awesome. And then you go down to Brooks, and Ryan Rembe's kind of doing his own thing, and, 12 punchies to, I think, 6 or 7 innings. And then from there on out, it was, it was kind of when your pitching is doing so good and attacking hitters and doing all this, it's really easy for us at the plate to just be like, all right, well, we can put up 2 right now, and then they can shut 1 down, and then we can put up 4 the next inning. We don't have to put up 7 in 1 inning, or, we trust our pitchers, and we trust our hitters, and we trust everyone. So, yeah, our pitching has been a very, very key part of our back half of the season, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And on the flip side of that, you mentioned the bats, but when you've got a guy like Nash Kroll going 4 for 4 with 6 RBI, it's pretty hard to go, okay, we can't lose this kind of game.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I think everyone knows Nash has been a leader for, however many years he's been here. And I think having him in the middle of that order, he comes up to the plate, no batting gloves, he looks all big, but having that confidence in the middle of the order, it's a great tool for us to use. And moving on forward with Sylvan Lake, I think having Ricky and Connor and all the guys that have been here, and I think someone that's gone unnoticed a little bit is Ayden Rose. I think Ayden Rose has had a great season, and I think he deserves to be talked about. So having all those pieces come together it's going to make up for a really good matchup in the West Final.
Another guy that might be understated right now is you, and your return to Okotoks has not been unnoticed, good sir. Talk a little bit about being back in town and being an impact guy right off the bat with the Dawgs.
I think I started off, it took me a while before I got activated, which was on, I think, June 30th. But once I got, that opportunity down in Lethbridge, it was a big moment for me. But I think I got a grip of myself once we got back home for Canada Day, and that Canada Day showing kind of put me back on track. And ever since, the guys have been awesome. And I don't think it's just me being a big part. I think it's the guys, welcoming me in. And you have a lot of guys that are older. I'm younger. I just turned 19, so for me to have older guys come in and show me the way, it's been awesome for sure.
Awesome to hear. Are you guys feeling any pressure in that room? You're the three-peated champions. You're going for the four-peat. Is there anything that you guys are sensing at this point? Or are you guys like even keel? Like, let's just get this business done?
Yeah, I think it's going piece by piece. It's every new series is a 0-0. It's we don't care about our 40 win season. You see it everywhere. You see lots of teams that go with a good season and they show up in the postseason and they think that it's the same ball game. It's super different. Baseball in the playoffs is something that I don't think in a lot of sports is the same. A pitcher can have a really good showing even though he had a tough season, and for us to show up and show out every game is important. And we've been pretty even keel with our performances. We have a big heart of the team, and that heart of the team is kind of bringing us to that next level. So I think trusting in our guys, and our coaching staff has been the same for all those years. And I think that brings leadership to the table, and that's how we get our stuff done.
So looking ahead, you mentioned Sylvan a little bit earlier on. How excited are you to rekindle that relationship again with the guys from up north?
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a big series. Of course, they're trying to kind of get it done for this year. We're trying to hold them back, and I think coming together and working hard to get to the next round and beat them again and show that it's our way, and we want them to come to us. We want the challenge. We love the challenge. Most likely going to face some good arms and some good pitching and some good hitting, but we're all ready for it. So bring him on and we'll take care of business kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. Final question for you, Leo. What would it mean to you to win a WCBL championship with a program that you've known for quite a few years here with the Dawgs?
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I mean, I remember, for the past 4 years of my life being in the stands and watching, all those guys put on a show, those Luther and, all the older guys that came through and won a championship for the team. I think it would be awesome for me to kind of be part of, and it's history, right? 4-peat, it's historical. And I think to be a part of it would be one hell of an accomplishment for me and for the team and for the ownership and the whole program. And even for the academy, I think all the academy guys, look up to us, and for us to win championships, it kind of helps the town a little bit and brings joy to the surroundings of the Okotoks Dawgs.
It all gets started on Sunday in the 4-peat between Sylvan Lake and Okotoks. Leo, congratulations on getting this far. Congrats on the season you've had. Best of luck in this series and beyond. And again, thanks so much for coming back on the show here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and anytime.
We head to Sylvan Lake next, where the Gulls want to finally get that monkey off their backs. After disposing of the Lethbridge Bulls in 2 straight with wins of 8-0 and 6-2, they're back in the West Final to face the Dawgs for a 4th straight year. However, they have yet to come away with a berth in the WCBL Final. One guy they'll be leaning on is Ayden Makarus, who hit .225 with 5 homers and 25 RBI in 34 regular season games and scored a pair of runs in the second win over Lethbridge. The utility man also had a laugh-inducing moment on the base paths, robbing Jaden Flores of an RBI after a slip-up. Ayden Makarus, you're going to a second round against a team that you're pretty familiar with. Let's talk about the series that you just finished, though. What was key in what I thought was going to be a very, very close series?
I think our pitchers stepped up for sure. I mean, a shutout in the first game was something we'd only done a handful of times throughout the year. So them really stepping up, and then our bats kind of working in sync with that. I think all the pieces fit together like a puzzle. Nothing really fell behind. We were all picking each other up, going that direction, so everything was working really well.
When you go into a series like this, and I know that there's some animosity, you two have played each other a lot, How do you kind of stay above that and stay even keel? Because you know that there's going to be a lot of peaks and valleys through the course of even a shorter 2-game series like this.
Well, and that's the biggest challenge with baseball itself, right, is staying kind of even keel mentally, physically, not letting the highs get too high and the lows too low, trying to brush it off, move on. They always talk about that short-term memory, moving on to the next game as quick as you can. So I thought the same thing coming in. It was going to be a lot of hype because we had kind of gone back and forth with Lethbridge throughout the year. So just to see our guys step up and kind of keep everything in the dugout, wasn't too much banter going back and forth. We were all really focused on our side of the game, right, from both sides, Lethbridge as well. So that was really fun to see.
How impressed were you with the resilience of your team, especially in the second game? The first game, you managed to get the 8-0 victory, and you come back here, you're facing their ace, that you're going to have to peck away at things. And I mean, you guys it's the definition of small ball, it felt like tonight.
Absolutely, and that's us capitalizing on their mistakes, right? We only had a couple extra base hits or a couple big hits, but us capitalizing and getting hard out of the box, going down to first base, and hard turns, ball in dirt, stealing bases. Like you said, that small ball was definitely key for us, capitalizing on their mistakes, and they throw the ball around. Even
the first run of the game, I believe, was scored on a slide from third by you. That was kind of the definition of the small ball, was it not? I mean, you're not one that's going to be like, okay, I'm gonna race down the line like that, but you made her happen.
Well, absolutely, right? Like Cleary, getting injured and me having to come in off the bench. That's why even you take preparation before the game so critical, because you never know what'll happen, right? So, ready for that situation. And I believe it was Anthony Gilbert up at the plate, did his job, put the ball in play, and I knew that I was see the ball on the ground, get a good lead, and I'm gone, right? So the second I kind of saw it go on that downward angle, I took off. Run scored because of it, and then I feel like we were able to build some momentum on that.
And you're having some fun out there too. I mean, you and I were joking off air about this a little bit, but the trip at third base, even the laughs after, like you were a little bit mad in the moment, I'm sure, but walk us through what happened.
Well, not even mad, just frustrated because I know what happens. It just happened an inning or two before, not to the same degree, but kind of coming in and around. Second base going towards third on Jaden Flores' double that he hit, creeping off. Not sure if it's down yet. See the outfielder's numbers. Ball hits the ground. I take off, hit second, going around. And as I'm kind of getting closer to third, I realize my steps aren't really lining up. I decided to lunge. Should never lunge. Should have stutter stepped instead. Hit the base, and I couldn't get my feet back underneath me after I hit the base because I was already too lengthened out. So shut it down, found it better than trying to continue on down the line, catching myself. And now I'm halfway between third and home, and now I'm in a rundown. So I feel like it was the better decision to shut it down and go back, laugh about it with the guys.
Well, especially when you're in a leading situation, it makes it a little bit easier to swallow.
It does.
Let's talk about the series. You get a couple of days off, and then it's the repeat. The four-peat of the repeat to a certain extent with the Okotoks Dawgs. It's a program you know fairly well. What are you looking forward to with that series?
They're one of the best of the best in the league, and I think we can go toe-to-toe with them, and that's part of it with baseball, is that it's any given day, you never know what will happen. I think that this year could be our year. We go out, all our pieces are working together like they were with the Lethbridge series, and I think that we can go toe-to-toe with them, and I think we come out on top at the end of the day. Going back home, it doesn't really mean anything. Playing against them, we've played them a lot throughout the year. We've seen all their dudes, right? So I got a lot of confidence in our team rolling into the next series here.
What's the key in your eyes to
Executing, right? Getting in those situations. Sometimes where we found struggles throughout the year, we weren't executing with, man on first and second with none or one away. We weren't scoring them. But even the last month of the season, I feel like every opportunity that we had, or to get a bunt down, to score a run, to just capitalize, right? Scratch one across, be gritty with it. I feel like we've capitalized and made that happen. So if we can continue to do that, I think we're going to set ourselves up for a lot of success.
I've been asking everybody for this particular show. I know that you've had a couple of years here, as we talked about in previous episodes. Final question for you: what would it mean to you to win a WCBL championship?
I think coming away with another one would be pretty special. Being able to do it away from what I was so familiar with, stepping into a new club, new team, new role, environment, atmosphere, different place in my life. I think that would be electrified, in me going back down to school, right? Just that confidence boost that, take that time off, you come back to it. This is what happens. That's why you should keep going.
Well, Ayden, really appreciate it. Congrats on the win. Congrats on the series, and best of luck going forward.
Appreciate it, Joe. Thank you.
Let's head east to Regina, where the Red Sox won their first playoff series since 2019 with a 2-game sweep of the Medicine Hat Mavericks. They would like to keep that momentum going, even though they've been missing some big pieces that they had earlier on in the season. One of the steady pieces has been hometown kid Rhett Hodgins, who hit .240 with 7 RBI in 13 regular season games and suited up in the finale against the Mavericks as a steady presence behind the plate for a relatively new pitching staff.
Rhett, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Thank you for having me.
On to the second round you go after a sweep of Medicine Hat. What's the vibe like in the clubhouse after a couple of big wins like that?
Vibes are high. Obviously, the sweep is nice, and hopefully we just keep it rolling into the next round.
Looking back on it, what was key for you guys?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing for us was felt like in the game one we played a complete game of baseball, and like our energy was just up throughout the entire game, and kind of just carry that same momentum going into the next. Obviously, some timely hits from like guys like James Wright obviously helped throughout both games, so that's always a huge factor into it.
Given you were the third seed in the division, you might have been viewed as an underdog to a certain extent. Did you guys see yourselves as that, though?
I mean, obviously, I don't think we ever see ourselves as underdogs, but obviously just hearing what people have to say, I think we kind of just embraced and rolled with it.
You lost a few big arms in the process, too. As a catcher, you're dealing with some different people up on the bump here. First off, how have you been able to maybe maneuver through that turnover and get the best out of the guys that you're getting on the bump every night?
I mean, obviously losing a couple of big arms obviously doesn't help, but the guys we brought in and the guys that are still here and been here throughout the season picked it up and done a hell of a job. Like Ayden Page has done an unreal job starting for us and pitched some big innings out of the pen as well. And I just think that our pitching staff has done a great job this year.
As a catcher, what are you telling some of those new guys on the mound, or what are you doing to keep their minds at ease as you enter arguably the biggest part of the summer?
I mean, like, obviously never try to make the moment too big and just kind of take it as it comes, pitch by pitch, and just kind of tell them one pitch at a time and one batter at a time, and something goes south and wash it on to the next.
Absolutely. You're a hometown Regina kid. What's it been like getting to play in front of a capacity crowd during playoffs now?
Oh, it's been unreal, especially growing up, coming to these games and seeing players before me, like other hometown players before me, like Griffin Keller play, and guys like that. It's been super cool kind of being in their shoes now and playing in front of this great fans we have, and it's pretty hard to beat.
Were you one of those kids who was running around the old field when Old Curry when you were a young kid, and now you're getting kind of live that dream?
Absolutely. I was also, one of those kids that always ask for balls or broken bats and chase after foul balls and run on the bases after the games. And, so anytime they come up and ask me to do that, I do it any day of the week.
Absolutely. Do you find yourself ever so often maybe taking that step back and going, okay, this is pretty cool because this is what I was hoping to do when I was a kid?
Yeah, obviously. I think the one that really stands out to me is when kids come up to me and ask me to play catch after the game. I always used to do that, so that's kind of when I take my step back and be like, dang, this is pretty cool.
That is awesome. Now you get ready for round 2, and it's the Saskatoon Berries. What do you expect out of that team?
I expect they're a very highly skilled team with a bunch of good players and local Saskatchewan talent like Corey Waters and Carter Beck, and expect a good battle between both of us, and it's going to be a good matchup.
I know half the battle is preparing for the other team. The other half is making sure you're executing your game plan. So what do you need to do as a team to be successful and go on to the WCBL final?
I think as a team, we just got to keep, like I said earlier, just keep the same energy and don't make things bigger than they have to be. Just kind of take it a step at a time and one pitch at a time or one swing at a time or however you do it, and just kind of keep on rolling with that.
Absolutely. Final question for you here, Rhett. What would it mean to you to win a WCBL championship with your hometown Regina Red Sox?
It'd mean the world, especially growing up here in Regina and being one of those kids running around on the field, and now being one of the local people and having all my friends and family come out to the games whenever I'm playing and support me. It just it's hard to put into words what it would mean to me.
Well, Rhett, looking forward to seeing what round 2 has in store. Congratulations on the round 1 win. Congratulations on all the success in your baseball journey so far. And thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we'll wrap things up with the Saskatoon Berries, who, despite being the best team in WCBL regular season history, were the last team to punch their ticket to the Final Four with a win late Saturday night over the Moose Jaw Miller Express. After splitting the first 2 games of that series, Game 3 was a marathon. Moose Jaw took an early 3-0 lead, then Saskatoon built up a 10-3 edge before the Millers scored 9 in the 8th to take a 12-10 lead. The Berries returned to tie it in the bottom of the 9th. Then, in the top of the 10th, heroics from Carnduff's Carter Beck, who added to his legend by hitting a walk-off grand slam. After the game, Saskatchewan Dugout Stories guest contributor Michaela DeCorby caught up with the Berries' star outfielder.
So starting off, that was a great hit. That was incredible. It was close game, electric crowd. What were your thoughts going into that last time out there?
Well, when the bases got loaded, I knew I just needed to get a ball and play in the air, hopefully, and I got a little lucky on the one that ended up dropping foul, and sure enough, got the 3-2 loaded bases, extra innings. Everyone dreams of it, and got a pitch I could hit and didn't miss it, so it was pretty cool.
With the Millers winning the first game of the series and heading into Game 2, what was the mentality that you had there?
I mean, it just becomes do or die and go out and play your game. Try not to push too much. I think we thought we were pushing a little too much and causing ourselves to get out and make mistakes, and we all just relaxed a little bit and went out and played our game 2, and then come into Game 3 and same thing, try and relax, play your game, and lots of ups and downs and swings in this game, but we tried to stay level and managed to do that.
On to the second round, so that was a crazy series. What is your thought process right now about going into it tomorrow so soon?
Yeah, I mean, go enjoy it for an hour or so, whatever, until we got to head back, then get home, get to sleep, and get ready to go tomorrow again. I'm not sure what time the game's at yet, but it'll be good, ready to get going against Regina.
From Saskatchewan, how does it feel to be able to have this crowd watch you and be so close to home and have your family support you?
It's awesome. It's so cool when I can go out all the time and play a game and then see 15, 20 people I know at every game. And there's nothing more enjoyable than being able to play in front of your home fans or your parents, you know. So yeah, it's awesome being able to play out here.
For all the kids watching and anyone aspiring to be in your shoes today, what would you tell them?
Just keep working, and I know I came from a really small town in Carnduff, southeast corner. You're not going to get the recognition you want, but if you just keep working, it'll start to come as you get older.
And what would it mean for you to bring a WCBL championship to your hometown and to bring home to Saskatoon, or hometown team to Saskatoon?
It'd be huge. I mean, I know Okotoks has won it the last 3 years, so it'd be really nice if we could get it back into Saskatchewan, and that's what we're aiming to do, and hopefully we can go out and get ready to go again tomorrow and keep going from there.
Okay, thank you very much for your time today. Good luck against Regina, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Leo Cote, Ayden Makarus, Rhett Hodgins, and Carter Beck for joining us for our WCBL Division Final Preview, as well as to Michaela DeCorby for covering the final game for us. And thanks to all of you for downloading and listening. We'll be back in a few days to preview the WCBL Final, whoever those two teams are, and we'll bring you all the regular news and notes from a busy week of baseball, including some national championships and a big update from the big leagues as former Dawgs star Tristan Peters finally got called up to the Tampa Bay Rays, and he also made his debut. We'll recap his weekend and more on the next edition of the show. As always, a tip of the cap to our Platinum supporters, the Okotoks Dawgs, Under the Light Sports and Entertainment, and the Western Canadian Baseball League for their generosity in helping us tell the game stories in our province. For more on our tremendous teammates or to join our roster of sponsors, head to albertadugoutstories.com/supporters. Until next time, thank you for all of your support, online, on social, and on air, of Alberta Dugout Stories.